Fun fact, Thomas Jefferson had the first AI-powered home, and understanding this and how it worked will help you understand everything that underlies the world right now. So let's dig in. Thomas Jefferson has probably been one of the biggest beneficiaries of the Founding Fathers glow up, because Thomas Jefferson wasn't really as big a thinker in the philosophy space as he's come off. But he's painted as such. What Thomas Jefferson was a very flowery writer. He was really good at writing things and making them seem incredibly interesting. And he was a prolific tinkerer, so he was smart, but he probably shouldn't have been near the levers of power. But he knew how to put some gussied up words on paper, which worked incredibly to his benefit because he got to write the theory that allowed him to exercise his hypocritical version of bigotry. And none of this is more evident than in his home. See, TJ was a tinker and a trained architect, so he designed this plantation that was a bit of an architectural marvel, even to this day. But one of the keys to make it work was the amount of labor, slave and freeman, it took to keep the thing running smoothly. And that's where TJ's genius started to shine through. He worked tirelessly to make as much of the labor that underpinned his home to act out of sight. This meant a crossroads of sort that materials and supplies and goods could be trafficked out of sight, with a series of dumbwaiters and passageways so that it could all be delivered discreetly to the upper layers of the home, where the individuals that were guests and the livers in the home could receive the benefits of the goods below without actually having to see the work being done. The slaves' quarters were a combination of windowless cells tucked into the walls of his home, as well as minimally improved shacks elsewhere on the ground. All of this in an effort to have a bit of a wonder house that could be a show to his guests, while hiding the serious labor it takes to have those wonders. In other words, an AI smart home. That is, a smart home run on the power of African indenture. And I bring this up because this is the underpinning of how capitalism works everywhere. If you think about the underlying principle of capitalism, extracting value from goods and services in order to create profit through competition, essentially making or producing things for as low a cost as possible, then what you have to realize is that system we use does not exist without indenture. Somebody somewhere has to be getting shafted, undersold, or exploited in order for their labor to be a low enough expense to get the guy on top doing the selling a bunch of money. Some of this we get because we see it every day. You don't have freaky fast delivery of random trinkets that you throw away in 2 days without a warehouse full of underpaid adults sprinting to fill buckets. You can't enjoy delicious fruits and vegetables without fields of manipulated immigrant laborers. You can't have bananas without slavery in the Caribbean. You can't have cheap t-shirts without underpaid Indian workers poisoning the rivers with dyes. You can't have chocolate without African children harvesting cocoa for fractions of a penny. In order for capitalism to work, there has to be a slave in the walls of your smart house. And corporations and governments have been conspiring to make you complicit while plying you with the joys and benefits of living this way, teaching you that you have it this way because you worked for it. So what's the answer? Do we become communists? Shove off private ownership of the means of production, communalize all of the goods? Not necessarily. I think there's an answer to how we should live somewhere in the middle of capitalism, communism, socialism that we'll have to feel out for ourselves individually, community by community. But what you can do is take some of the speed and convenience out of your lives. Find the suffering that is necessary to get the things you like. And remember, the real hidden slavery is the friends you've made along the way.